Typically, when we do a book review video, we're looking at an essential book. We're looking at a specialty book. We're looking at um, something that's important for a particular field, be it art history, iconography, or religious context that relates to some tradition of Himalayan art. But sometimes there can be another kind of category, which is a little bit more um, museum historical. And here I'm talking about uh, one specific book, and we could be talking about many catalogs and many bulletins that are put out by museums. But this one is called Arts from the Rooftop of Asia, Tibet, Nepal, and Kashmir, and it is done by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The curator was Fong Chow, and the year was spring 1971. So we're really going back a few years, going back quite a long time. And I'd just like to remind people that back in 71, the Metropolitan Museum of Art did not have a Himalayan art section. They did not have that top floor above Indian art. They did not have that room or two rooms with the painting and sculpture of Nepal, Tibet, Kashmir, etc. So this is really a bit of the beginning, 1971, with Fong Chow. And what he did is he actually borrowed a lot of pieces from a lot of different people. And in this small, very thin publication, Arts from the Rooftop of Asia, it's all black and white images. Now, they did do a bulletin in May in which they did some color plates, but in this publication, it's just black and white. Now, what's interesting about it is we can see that there's different anonymous lenders, and some of these anonymous lenders later donated the pieces to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. As a matter of fact, Fong Chow credits two lenders with promising to donate their loaned art to the Met. But then there are other pieces. There's other sculpture, and that some of the other pieces are anonymous. But if we cross-reference on the HAR website, then we can see that they're Robert Ellsworth or they're different early collectors of the time. Now, also, if you look at some of the pieces, and if you go to item 35, item 35 is actually lent by Mrs. Vincent Astor, and yes, Astor, I believe she was on the board, or she was on a committee, an important committee of the Metropolitan Museum. The Astor family was quite prominent in that period of time, and earlier even. Now there's a one sculpture that I'm highlighting here, which is lent by Mrs. Vincent Astor, and what it is it's Manjushri Rigdu. So it's a Jampal Rigdu in Tibetan, and the piece is Tibetan. They're saying 18th century, but I think it really needs to be redated to the either 15th or early 16th century. They weren't always that good with dates 50, 60 years ago, nor were they always good with regions either. But this is a Manjushri, and then Rigdu is Rig is like a family. Du is combined or included, so it's a combined families of Manjushri. So what it really means is it means the five Buddha families, the symbolic families of Vairochana, Akshobhya, Amitabha, Ratnasambhava, and Amoghasiddhi are all combined in this one form. And this form can also have Vajradhara or Vajrasattva represented, and Vajrasattva represents 100 Buddha families, symbolic Buddha families. And this sculpture has four faces in the round, one central face, a face to the right and left, and a face behind. Then it has two faces above, so it's actually six-faced. Avalokiteshvara with two arms. And the two arms, the two hands are in meditation gesture in the lap, and they hold the stem of Utpala flower, which night lotus, which blossoms at either side of the shoulders, just at the level of the ears. And on each of the blossoms is a Prajnaparamita text. Now, one of them is broken. The one on the right side is broken. And in the text for this catalog, they mention that it probably should be a sword. Well, that's because back then they're always associating Manjushri with a sword and a book. But with this Manjushri combined families, Jampal Rigdu, then he actually holds 2 books. Okay, now what's interesting about this is, to my knowledge, this sculpture is not in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So it may still belong to the descendants of the Astor family, or it went into the art market at some time in the past, over the last 50 years or so. So we don't know. So the importance here is we're looking at this very old catalog from 1971 at the Met, before they even had a Himalayan art section or Tibetan section. And we're looking at this catalog of when they did one of their first shows for Himalayan art. And we're finding artworks that we have not seen before. And they're also a little bit rare and unusual. I think on the Har website, we may only have combined painting and sculpture. We might only have 5 or 6 examples of this Manjushri combined families. Quite a rare piece. But what's also very nice here is this piece is of a fair size. It's 9 1/4 inches in height, and it's also very much coming out of the Sonam Gyaltsen atelier. So, but whether or not it's late 15th or early 16th, it's hard to say without looking at the actual piece. But what it does is it introduces some very, very good art that we've not been aware of before. Now, I've not gone through this whole catalog to look at every single piece and to see whether or not it's in the Met collection, or whether it's in the open art market or in another museum collection. I've not done that yet, because this one piece is what I saw that I was not familiar with. There were several other pieces that I was not sure because of the quality of the photography, but I have since realized that they are on the Har website, and one of them is in the Met collection, donated, and another one is in the Ellsworth collection, but then since it's been deaccessioned and it's moving through the private art market somewhere. But we do have a photo on the Har website. So just a little talk about the value of these early catalogs and bulletins about Himalayan art exhibitions, and then provenance and tracking down where the art may be, or finding art that we didn't know existed. So you can press like, you can subscribe, you can join Har on Patreon, and you can make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.